Hey everyone, Cynics here, and it's time to start up episode 8 of Design Lab. So, in this episode, we're going back to creatures and we're going to do a dragon. So, this is going to be once again viewer participation, and I think most Design Labs will be from now on. So, just some recommendations when you do your dragon, thumbnails and things like that. The main thing is that you want to focus on a basic kind of key design element, and you want to kind of base each thumbnail around something that stands out. And this is what makes your thumbnail design kind of stand out from the crowd, and really kind of separate itself and get noticed by people. So basic design element. And obviously you don't just want to draw a traditional dragon. You want to remember that this is a concept art design activity, so make sure your designs are original and try to make them as unique as you can. So one of the ways I like to make things more unique is not just by doing rough thumbnail shapes like I've been doing in some of the previous ones, but it's to think more mentally about the brainstorming process and to kind of try to think about what makes up a dragon. What could a dragon be? So there's a few different types of dragons that we know about in mythology. The first one is just your standard dragon, which is like a lizard thing, and it's got two sets of legs and some kind of wing. So it's got wings and then basically four legs, so front legs and back legs. Now this is a bit unnatural in the animal kingdom because I don't think there's any skeletal creatures that actually have kind of six controlled appendages. It's always just four. Like things that have wings usually just have legs and then wings, but I don't think there's anything that has legs, arms, and wings. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. So that's a basic dragon, and there's also a wyvern. I'll just write that out real fast. And a wyvern is actually something that's very realistic because it's basically, once again, a dragon shape, but it only has the two legs and then wings. There's no arms involved. So this is actually plausible in the animal kingdom. And it's basically a cold-blooded bird and something like that. So there's very possibly been wyverns around in prehistoric times or something like that. That's a very plausible kind of structural shape to have just a bird. Except it's, reptile-based bird and it's large. But that's a possible shape. And there's also, kind of the Chinese or Asian themed dragons, which are, similar, but usually don't have wings or anything like that. They'll just have the legs and the arms and basically be more snake-like and longer. So those are a few of the basic mythological type dragons, and you can use this information to help you brainstorm other ideas for what a dragon might look like or might be. So for instance, knowing that there's probably no creature that has, six limbs that has a skeletal structure, you could think maybe it has an exoskeleton. Maybe it's more bug-like, and you could kind of get an idea from that of a dragon that's more of an exoskeleton, more bug-like, but it has the legs, arms, and wings. And, I don't know what it would look like, but, it's just that kind of thought process of where can it go? Maybe instead of being like an insect with an exoskeleton, maybe it's something that's more like in the water, because there's definitely sea creatures that have, multiple fins and limbs in different directions, and maybe you can get inspired by that. There's like sea dragony type creatures that are really interesting, and they have really interesting color patterns as well, and maybe you'll draw some inspiration from that type of stuff. If we continue to look through the natural world, we'll find some interesting things. One thing that could be of interest to inspiring you is there's something called the flying dragon or the Dracovolus or something like that. But it's basically a gliding lizard. And so let's just draw, like here's our dragon head and then our dragon body, and it's got the tail and the legs and it's got arms as well. But this one's unique because it actually does have something like wings. So it does have those 6 structures, except it's not controlled the same way wings are. In fact, these are just its rib bones. Its rib bones expand out and actually let it glide. So that's just, something to think about. I don't think that would work that well as a dragon because it can't, fly on its own power. It can just glide. So it might not be that interesting, but at least you can look at that creature and actually get some inspiration from maybe the color scheme or something like that. Now, having said all of that, it's also important to note that this is just one basic, train of thought that you can go off on trying to make things more realistic. But you're completely welcome to do things that are not at all realistic and just kind of, fun and fantasy based. You can just have a fat little dragon with little tiny wings. Just explore different concepts, all you want. So there's my little dragon. It's got a face and little legs and little arms, and it just kind of looks like a bean or something. I don't know, but let's pretend it's like a dragony thing with roaring and stuff. But yeah, you can do whatever you want. Once again, just try to get different design elements. So for instance, with this one, it's the shape with the little wings and whatever. You just kind of want to brainstorm what's going to make your design different from everyone else's and what's going to make your design maybe different from the other designs you might do. So that's why it's helpful to do multiple designs, is because it lets you kind of think about how you can change stuff. So anyway, I think that's about it for my little briefing period. And I'll just quickly remind everyone about how you can submit your thumbnails to be used in this viewer participation episode of Design Lab. So you can submit things to either facebook.com/CynicsDesign, which is our little Facebook group for these videos, or you can submit things in the comments below using IMGUR, which is also useful. And just as a reminder that you should submit them in 1280 by 720 format. So I'll write that real quickly, 1280 by 720, and make sure you put your name in the bottom or somewhere on there. Put your name there so people can reference your design in case they like it and want to vote on it for the next episode. So that's always a good idea, so I can reference you somehow. So once again, facebook.com or in the videos below, and you'll probably have to do some trickery to get your thing to read. So you put a little space there in your URL, imgur.space com/dragon or whatever your JPEG name is, .jpeg. Okay, so I think that's about everything, and I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of interesting and unique designs you guys can come up with. Oh yeah, there's one last thing. I think the deadline for this will be, say, June, let's go with 18th. So 18th, you have all of the 18th to get these in until the end of the 18th. So that will be the deadline, just so you guys know. I know some people wanted a deadline. It's like 5 days or so, which will probably be the normal kind of deadline time. So hopefully that's long enough for you guys to make really simple, little designs. Once again, don't over-render it. Just keep it nice and simple. Focus on designs. Leave something for me to do in the final video. All right, thanks for watching.